Today I'd like to take the time to share a personal story with all of you because it's really essential to understand what's at stake with these discriminatory policies all around the country. It was November 5th, Election Day last year, and like many of you, I spent the day at my polling place holding signs and talking to voters and, waiting for the results to come in. Around nighttime, the last Republican volunteer showed up to hold signs, and I introduced myself. After talking for a little while, he told me the reason he hadn't participated much in politics this year. It turned out that one of his children had passed away the previous summer, and he just didn't have the energy. I could tell how difficult it was for him to share, but at the same time, he was reaching out to me for a reason. Right about the time the polls had closed, I started to pack up my things, and he pulled me aside, and he asked me a question. Are you transgender? And I said yes. It turned out the reason that his son had passed away was he was a transgender man who had taken his own life the previous summer. Even though he didn't fully understand what it meant to be transgender, he loved his child deeply and regretted not having more time to understand him before he passed away. He asked about my own experience being a trans woman and what I thought could have contributed to their suicide. I shared how deeply painful it can be for trans people to go through life in a society hostile to our very existence, and how transitioning saved my life 6 years ago. We kept talking about all sorts of things, all sorts of stories about his son's life, long past the time the polls had closed. He was worried about how the rest of his family was coping with the loss and what he could do. After that, we hugged for a bit, and everything else that happened that day just faded away. Long after he had left, I couldn't stop thinking about that conversation, about a father just trying to understand his child and cope, and how much pain could be avoided if we didn't treat trans people like political weapons. I will remember that conversation for the rest of my life. In those moments, we were not a Republican or a Democrat. We were just two people trying to reach out and genuinely understand each other.